So good morning everybody. Today we're going through Munger on drugs, the hidden cost of bad habits. Let's get going. This is point number 20 in Charlie Munger's Psychology of Human Misjudgement in the book Poor Charlie's Almanac. And Charlie Munger, he describes it as drug misuse tendency. So we will look at some of the larger effects if you would use drugs or being surrounded by people who are using drugs, both financial and in your life. So Charlie Munger, he describes that the effects of drugs are so widely known, so it should be common sense to stay away from this. But we will dig deeper into what are the actual effects if you would use it or if you're surrounded by people who are using it. And my personal recommendation is to stay away from any situation that could lead to you using drugs, even if that means being surrounded by friends or having one friend in your circle of friends who are using drugs, to stay away from them or get new friends. For example, when I worked with a lot of artists, there was a lot of drug use around, and I needed to become known for the guy who never used drugs, so people would know that it was not any idea to offer me or to invite me to these things. And one guy, Andreas Karlsson, that I did an interview with, he said the same thing, that he has made that his principle to stay away from that, and he has become really successful by having a much more clear mind and staying away from those things. And why is this the case? Well, if you have one person in your friend group who uses drugs, you're not only inviting them, you're inviting their values into your life. And people who use drugs are often linked with criminality, and you don't want to have this energy or this association in your life. So it's much better to avoid it by getting new friends. And there's one particular example that happened in Sweden right now, that one very famous artist, he was loved, he was successful, he was rich, and then on a tour bus someone offered him to take drugs, and he could not say no, or he started taking it. And this ended up with his wife divorcing him, and he lost the access or the being able to see his kids, and he lost his reputation, and people started to cancel his shows. So a lot of bad things happened as a ripple effect of these small habits of just trying once, and then it led to the other thing. So let this be a clear example of what not to do. Another reason why you should stay away from drugs is because your judgment will be off. So you will make more stupid decisions when you are on drugs. So that's why it pays off not doing it, because you want to make smart decisions. You don't want to be making stupid decisions. Another reason why you should stay away from drugs is because you want to be a good example to your family, to your wife and to your children. So your children will not do what you say, but they will do what you do. So you want to be a good example to them by not using drugs. And instead, you want to be involved in doing good things for society and contributing to society. Another reason why I want to stay away from people who are using drugs is because they need to buy these drugs from someone. And usually these people are connected to maybe a criminal gang or other type of bad influence that you don't want to have in your life. So if you hang out with a person who are using drugs, they will know these people and they will be connected to these people. And by inviting this person that is seemingly a nice guy maybe, you're also inviting these friends into your life. And believe me, you don't want that energy into your life. So another reason why you should stay away from drugs is because you don't want to be sponsoring criminal activity. We want to make it more difficult for criminals to act in society. And if someone is using drugs, they are directly sponsoring these activities. So by saying no to drugs and not using it, you will make it more difficult for criminal people to work in your country. And that is a really great contribution to your society. Another big reason to stay away from drugs is because it's very expensive. So it will ruin your finances. Many people who use drugs, they end up in debt because it's so expensive and it's so addictive. And people who are in debt are more likely to do stupid things. So let's say someone is in debt to a criminal person and is under a threat. They will be forced to start doing criminal acts themselves to get money to pay off their debts. So it's a very, very, very bad spiral to get into. Instead, we want to use this energy to invest in our mind, to become smarter, to make smarter decisions. We want to be able to make investments in our company or other financial investments. It is also very likely that someone who is using drugs have blindness about this, so they don't see how actually bad it is. So they will be in denial about this. I talked about this in another video. So they won't see the bad consequences that are actually happening. Maybe people around them are, but they won't see it themselves. So instead of putting your energy into doing drugs, being in debt, paying off these debts, being drawn into criminality, we want to do good things. We want to have a clear mind. We want to invest in our business. We want to make smart decisions. We want to invest in our family and to be a good example for our family and to do good things and contribute to society. So that is a much, much better path to be on. And even though you might think, it's not so bad, this friend is just using sometimes, or he's not so bad, he's nice anyway, I need to be nice to this person, or something like that, then you are putting yourself at risk. You and your family and your projects are at risk if you allow this to happen in your life. I've said this before, a very small percentage of people will bring the majority of problems into your life. So if you can identify these people and get rid of them, your life will be so much better. And if someone is using drugs or have any association with criminality, you should cut them out. And it will save you so much trouble in your life, I promise. And if your friends are using drugs or you're in a situation where you're surrounded by this, do anything you possibly can to get out. Move to another city if you have to. Start to study in a university in a city far away or something. Or move away and get a new job, or completely move yourself from that situation so you change your circle of influence, because that will radically change the outcome of your life. And why is this important? Well, because we want to have an awesome life. I want you to have a high quality life and to have awesome finances, to have great relationships and an awesome life. And if we are aiming for that, we cannot allow bad crap to happen in our life. We need to get bad activity and bad energies out. So that's why this is so important. So take this advice. If you know someone who would need to hear this message, send them this video. It would be awesome for, I think it's very important to get this message out, especially when you're in your 20s. Awesome, and have a lovely day, and hope to see you soon again.